You wanted to see a review of the updated Kia Sorento, and here it is with a new styling and everything you need to know about this vehicle here with Thomas Nautogefühl in 4K, full screen, full length. Let's go. With this restyled front, you can see here with the new daytime running light signature, and even more spectacular when you hit the turning indicators or the hazard lights, that the top part gets replaced then by the turning indicator. Really cool. So I think from the front it really works. Now looks a little bit more similar to the Kia EV9, that big electric SUV they have. Then to the side we have the length of 4.81 meters or 189 inches. So it is actually, at least for European purpose, full-size SUV. 17 to 20 inch wheels, 19 inch wheels we have here today, so maybe a good compromise of comfort and look. We will also test it on the German Autobahn here today very soon for you. You get different seating options on the interior. I'll soon show you all of that. 5, 6 or as a 7-seater even available. That will be very interesting, of course. An interesting styling element is here towards, the rear side profile. But yeah, if it was really necessary, I don't know. What do you think about it? This is here, you can see this additional rear window, especially if you have then the 7-seater option. Towards the rear, also major restyling here with the rear lamps, for example. Looks really modern. And once again here, when you hit the turning indicators or the hazard lights, then it's even more spectacular. And yeah, it almost looks like a battery status indicator, doesn't it? And also don't forget to get your personal Autogefühl merchandising right now. The shop is underneath the video and also linked in the video description and the pinned comment. Hey, with this update we also have a new key fob and has this matte surface, so great upgrade for that one. I really like that new one. Here is where you press then for the keyless entry, and door closing sound. A solid rear. It's also solid. The only thing here when the handles here snatch back, that is not ideal. So that would need to be a little bit smoother if Kia engineers listen. So then here, inside of the doors is also a little bit softened up. These inside door handles on all 4 doors are huge indeed. Then we have a nice structure here on that inside. Then also a softer area for your elbow. You can see the inside pocket here is not covered, so this is an all hard black plastic. Oh yeah, nice entry badges by the way here. There we go. And also a new cockpit, soon more to that. Yeah, it looks like one screen, but there are actually 2 screens. So this is then completely new, soon more details to that. At the moment it's off. You can see soon how it looks on. Steering wheel still with manual controls for the volume, for example, and on the right side then for the cruise control. And in the European market, you would start with fabric seats, in the US as well. And then higher trims in the US, you can also get a little red. This one here, however, in the European market, animal skin only. And the downside in the practical sense is also that's really stiff. So definitely better comfort with the fabric or the leatherette seats. Then here 189, 6 for 2, a lot of headroom left here, and the steering wheel has a manual control, and the seat ergonomics itself is actually quite decent. So you sit really upright and you have this full-size SUV feeling. Now this cockpit here, let me turn on the ignition. And this is a very interesting thing what they did here, because it is kind of mixing the digital and the analog world. And I think that's a good choice. Let me explain to you what I mean by that. First of all, we have here a nice decor element. You also can hear it, how it actually feels really slick, but it sounds differently. Very interesting, isn't it? Glove box is not that much dampened here, actually. But there is worse, let's take it that way. And then we have this lower element area here, which you can switch around actually. So this here, the climate unit, and either you have this possibility to control the climate unit directly like this, or you switch it, for example, here to the GPS view, and then this is then the volume control, and you have the other hotkeys here. I would probably maybe use the AC function more, that you can control it while driving in a quicker way. And the good thing is that you have the manual control here. Yes, at the same time, if you want to use it for something else, it's also possible. So we know this from the Kia electric vehicles. I think it's a good choice, and I would probably leave it on the AC functionality all the time. Then 12.3 inch infotainment on the right side, and on the left side digital instruments. Soon more to that in the driver POV. Lower middle console is also super interesting here. First of all, there's seat heating. This is a little bit misleading. It looks like a switch you could also turn back, but it's not. It's only one you can push forward, and the same goes also for the driver's side. In the lower part, that's very, very interesting. Here you can switch the left part here from the USB-C charger to charging only to charge plus connect. So you have the possibility then on the right side only charging, and there's also an inductive charging pad on the right side. However, this one without any cooling hole, so the phone will overheat there. I would probably use then the cable function for Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. Adaptive cup holders here in the front, only 2 though, so it depends on the size how tight they are being held. This is also the new, this shifting lever, so neutral for D or P. And yeah, we know that because Jaguar Land Rover initially introduced it, but yeah, why not? Then here, this is also interesting. Here the driving mode selector on the left side for the road driving, and when you click it, then you go through the off-road driving modes. This is also a 4x4 version. And then seat heating is in the lower. This is an unusual place for that, but at least it has a separate button. Why not? Then you have huge middle consoles, also soft on top. And then there's a lot of space underneath, so a very well usable middle console here. And for possible beauty reasons, you can also close this front part. The only thing is, like when you want to do it like this, it doesn't work. You really have to like bang, you know, you have to push it really hard to open and close it. And Lia is now showing you a very special feature with this vehicle. First of all, here in the sun visor. So the light does not automatically go on. You have to switch it on manually, and yeah, this sounds a little bit cheap when you activate that, so that's not that good. However, a very cool feature is that here the sun visor or sun blind can be extended. That's awesome, and especially for long highway rides, this is very useful depending on where the sun is coming from. And I can show that to you here when I zoom in. There we go. When you have this symbol there, then it's possible to extend it. And it is a special feature because some wonder hardly any cars have that anymore. And here it's on both sides. Driver POV here with the real buttons on the steering wheel, like for the volume. That's nice. Digital instruments, also kept pretty simple. And there you can also see the consumption, like 6.6 liters on 1 kilometers here for the 2.2 liter diesel. That's like 35 mpg US, so like 43 mpg UK. And when you look over to the right side, to the infotainment system, Apple CarPlay integration looks really nice. Love that. When you go to the main Kia menu, you have this tile view here, for example. I wouldn't exactly say it's my favorite infotainment system, but it does the job. And here you can also deactivate this automatic closing of the tailgate if you don't like that. And for example, here the favorite button at the steering wheel I have set to the assistance systems, that you then can, for example, easily deactivate that speed limit warning. Let's take a look what the rear seats have to offer. First of all, this inside door. This is also somewhat softer in the top part, and we also have a manual shade. That's really nice, and it really covers all of the windows, so that's really good for the kids, definitely. And then also here the leatherette at the inside of the doors, and this is like a huge inside door handle for a rear door. That's interesting. And also rear seat heating and a real adaptive cup holder for the rear seats. We see that here very, very seldom. Just the lower part here is all hard plastic and so on. Then interesting, the seat folding mechanism. We will profit from that when we soon take a look at the trunk, because here when you pull that lever and the rear part goes down, you see that the seating area also slides down, and this will ensure an even loading surface then from the rear. So that's a very, very good and important feature, and some cars lack that nowadays. Then we have ISOFIX at the outside seats each. This is here the 5-seater setup. And then we have the cup holders on the inside are not adaptive, but hey, you have these on the outside. And you can also slide the bench forward or backward for more trunk length or more legroom. Usually you have it all the way back then here for the most legroom. You sit very high here. So this is rather, I would say, like a kid's setup indeed. Because, I mean, Do you see that on camera? How it looks kind of weirdo how I sit here? Because I feel I'm sitting higher than the passenger seat. Look at that. It's like, it looks like I'm like a giant or something, and the driver's seat is maybe like from a, I don't know, Toyland or so. Here I still have enough legroom left though, so there's a lot of space here, and I sit relatively upright. And my real height is 189, 6'2", and there's still enough headroom left. So abundance of space. Just yeah, I think for the kids it's good that you still have good view to the front. When you're tall, you wouldn't need to be sitting that high actually, but yeah, overall it's fine and comfort. Just again, that the animal skin seating here we get in Europe, it's just very stiff overall. So I would definitely go with the fabric seating in the European market, and then maybe the leatherette seating or the base fabric in the Northern American market. But overall, it's very good usage of space here in the rear. Interesting that we have USB-C chargers actually integrated in the seats. That's something that Kia and Hyundai does often nowadays. And then we also have here these additional pockets, and I can also move the seat here in the front from here with these side controls. That's actually a quite a handy thing to do. So maybe, you know, when I want to have more space here, or like a chauffeur purpose, no one sitting in the front, and I just put this one more in the front to have like this luxury chauffeur driving experience than here on this side. So what do you think about that? So this is here, when you have the key in your pocket, approach the vehicle from the rear. You just wait a little bit. There we go. Then you have this automatic opening. And this is of course good when you have something in your hands. And then you also have an automatic closing function. Let's see, you get something out and you hear. So then you leave again. Wait a little bit. Beep, beep, beep. And then it automatically closes again. And that way I actually really did nothing but use this function that the vehicle is offering. The normal opening mechanism is hidden underneath here. And this automatic opening mechanism I found really cool. This automatic closing mechanism, again, sometimes it can be annoying, I feel. Here with this button pressed, and you can also deactivate it, because maybe you don't want to have that every time, right? Then here there's this cover for the trunk, and it's a little bit loose here. The reason is that there is a version with 7 seats, of course, and it would be actually down underneath here. I can show that to you. First of all, the space underneath you have here is here, and somewhere then here, and this is where the seats would be hidden actually. The normal length here is 1.08 and 42 inches, and the same also goes in between the wheel arches. But if you extend it like here above the wheel arches, this is more like 1.30 meters or 52 inches. That's really impressive. And also there are these controls to fold the seats from here in a very comfortable fashion, like here and here. So when I press them now, there we go, and that folds the seat here really flat. So flawless folding flat. Repeat that yourself. And that's here 1 meters, almost 1.95 meters or 75 inches in length. So this is very well usable. Even though it has all these good automatic functions, throughout this review you have heard also probably so many beeping sounds. And yes, a lot of these beeping sounds are meanwhile basically mandatory, and also other manufacturers have them. But here with Kia, Hyundai and Genesis, also in their whole corporation, they are so extremely loud and annoying in like how the tone is set and so on, and also just the volume of that sound, that after time it really gets annoying. So just always when you like open the trunk like this, it's just really loud and annoying, the whole this whole sound design they have. Under the hood you get a 2.2 liter diesel. In Europe they're all 4-cylinder engines. It's also here the diesel engine today. And you get a 1.6 liter petrol hybrid inbuilt, or then also as a plug-in hybrid. And for the Northern American market there's also a 2.5 liter engine petrol. Sport mode. What an open road today. Yeah, interesting. Sometimes wish we had this with performance vehicles. So now I have to be on the brakes. But good feeling for the brakes, definitely. Yeah, I mean, it's not the most powerful, most accelerating engine there, but I would say sufficient size for this very vehicle. Of course, different choices are still available. Here then the diesel also has the all-wheel drive function. As for the noise insulation, here when we are at normal, non-German motorway speeds, like 100 kilometers an hour, 60 miles an hour, I feel it's very decently silent. So maybe even very silent. What do you think? Not so much, but do I have a, maybe it's
here is a little bit windy.
Here on her side, interesting. So let's see here now, 120. Ah, here now at 120. Yeah, see from the side mirror. So at 100, I think it's fine. 120, it's a little bit louder. Let's see here, 130. Yeah. So beginning like 140 kilometers an hour. It's not really windy outside today, so that's definitely here from driving. So now it gets kind of noisy. So it's let's say not exactly high-speed German Autobahn proof as for the insulation, but driving-wise, that feels nicely. I mean, they don't have like an adaptive suspension here or something, so the sport mode also doesn't change anything. But here, when I'm doing a lane change, I actually feel quite safe in this vehicle. It doesn't shake up too much. At the same time, suspension, I mean, it's neither set on a very sporty note, nor is it too loose or something. So I'm actually happy for that, as long as the road is fine. When it's actually bumpy in the road, you know, or like you have like cobblestones or something like that on the road, then you might wish for a little bit more comfort. But as soon as the road is even, that's actually fine. Yeah, probably the noise insulation at higher speeds. That's something that would be a critical issue for the German Autobahn. Not as important then, of course, if you have, let's say, non-German Autobahn speeds for sure. So I really don't feel, I can also, by the way, switch to the normal mode here. Yeah, I wouldn't enjoy driving it more than 130 kilometers an hour, actually. It's not the main emphasis of this vehicle anyway, so that's actually then okay. The steering wheel is fine, it's actually nice and direct, and you don't have a dead zone area or something. And once again, as I said, the lane changes are actually very, very nice, very likable to do. Then you've maybe also seen it already in the like in the parts where I did some lane changes here. There's an additional blind spot monitor setting. So when I have the turning indicator set, there's always here this additional camera view, and the same also happens then for the left side again on the left side. So it's a very cool feature. You also have a normal blind spot monitor integrated in the side mirrors, actually. So the traveling feeling of this vehicle is good. And also, once again, the user interface, if you want to change the AC a little bit, I don't even have to look at that. And it's the big thing to me, actually, because I mean, we came from that way where you could look straight and change. I mean, I don't even have to look at it where to find it. My view is completely to the road, and I'm directly finding it with my hand, blindfolded, and I know how to turn up or down the temperature. That's how it's supposed to be, and that's how it used to be, but that's how it isn't anymore. Yeah, and I still wonder why. Strange, isn't it? So good to have it here then in this very vehicle. Really like that. And here at 100 kilometers an hour, 60 miles an hour, it's also, let's say, relaxing enough. Also as for the noise insulation and so on. Yeah, here, what I said, 19-inch wheels here, not the biggest, not the smallest one, but when there are some potholes in the road and so on, there the suspension could give us a little bit more comfort. Suspension is maybe also not their super special thing, you know. The special thing of this vehicle is definitely the usage of space, and yeah, I also love the exterior looks. Now here in this S combination, we can also drive a little bit quicker. There you feel it's a heavy SUV. It's not set on the sportiest note, so I wouldn't say it's the most fun SUV to drive. Also, again, not the emphasis. You feel that you're driving a large one, and then you also can profit from that space on the inside. But driving fun, yeah, it's definitely not something where they had the biggest emphasis on, I would say. What's your impression so far?
Yeah, I agree.
You agree? Okay, that's always good. Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's like within with the noise installation, it's really good to check with Leah, because on some things she can directly agree, but sometimes she's like, yeah, she feels it differently. And yeah, it's really interesting that for the driver it can sometimes even sound different than when you are on the passenger side. Just like these, I don't know, like a meter or something different inside the vehicle, it can sometimes make a difference here actually. Then what about the assistance systems here? So we can activate it on the right side of the steering wheel here, first of all. Then I can set the speed. Distance is then being kept to the vehicle in front of us. And let's also see here I can activate or deactivate easily the active lane keeping assist. That's also good to have that. So here, sometimes a little bit nervous from the steering reactions here, I feel. You've maybe directly seen that here. So that could be a little bit smoother, I feel. So let's take it here on the right side and see distance being kept, of course. Now the vehicle reducing speed. Let's see if it's being done better here. At the moment, rather straight. Yeah, but I feel it could be a little bit smoother in the holding movements here of that one. But overall, not too bad. Interesting, by the way, here, as for the power distribution of that all-wheel drive, you see that even when I floor it down, there's always more power sent to the front wheels. And there you can see this front wheel bias of this platform here. You can get this engine here, for example, in front wheel drive or all-wheel drive. And that usually is an indicator for what is like the main axle. And here you see the proof. It's always nice to have this distribution meter. So definitely always more power to the front wheels. And only if there's really needed, if there's like wheel spin, there's also more to the rear wheels, or here in the off-road driving programs that would, for example, also play a role right there. Pricing is really interesting indeed. So in the US, it's ridiculously cheap. It starts just over 30,000 dollars. Like, how is that possible? Yes, of course, lowest trim and so on. But here in Germany, for example, it starts above 50,000 euros. Yes, the German prices always include the VAT, and the US prices don't, but still, such a huge gap for real. This vehicle here, as it stands here right now, with all the bells and whistles, so this is already not the highest trim, but already somewhat higher, 62,000 euros. So my two favorite features for today, definitely the exterior design with this facelift looks so much cooler and so much more modern. And secondly, the overall interior space, so well usable. On the negative side, maybe a little bit the driving comfort from suspension, and also these like pretty annoying beeping sounds all over the place. What do you think about the update Sorento? Tell me in the comments, and also compare the competitors.